There is something women carry, quietly, privately, something they rarely speak out loud, not because it does not matter, but because the world has never made it safe enough to say, "This is about that thing. Stay with me." If this channel speaks to something real in you, something you have been searching for in the silence, subscribe now. Hit that button. Because what we build here is for women who are done pretending, done settling, done shrinking. Now, let us begin. There is a desire that lives inside most women, not for wealth, not for beauty, not for applause. It is quieter than that, more rooted, more ancient. It is the desire to be truly seen, not performed at, not managed, not handled, seen. The woman underneath the role, the woman before the title, the woman who exists when no one is watching. That woman. She wants someone to notice her, not her smile, her truth, not her output, her depth. And most men never notice this. They see the surface, they admire the performance, they fall for the version she has learned to present to the world. But the version she protects, the version she guards like a quiet fire, that one stays hidden, because no one has ever asked about her, not really. Here is what most people misunderstand about women. They assume women want to be chosen. They do not. Not primarily, not at the core. What a woman truly wants is to choose herself, and then to be with someone who understands why that matters. Choosing yourself is not selfishness. It is not arrogance. It is the foundational act of a woman who knows her worth without having to perform it. A woman who chooses herself does not need validation. She welcomes appreciation. She does not need reassurance. She welcomes honesty. She does not need to be rescued. She welcomes a partner who is also whole. There is a difference between needing someone and wanting someone. Needing comes from emptiness. Wanting comes from fullness. Women who have chosen themselves stop needing, and they begin to want from a place of genuine freedom. That freedom is magnetic. That freedom is rare. Most people have never experienced it, and the ones who have never go back. Now let us talk about attraction, because attraction is deeply misunderstood. Most people think attraction is about appearance. It is not at its root. Appearance opens a door. Character decides whether you stay. What truly attracts a grounded woman is not a man's looks, not his money, not his status. It is his stillness, his ability to be present, his capacity to remain calm when the world around him is loud, his willingness to be honest, not clever, honest. A woman who has done her own inner work does not fall for performance. She has performed herself. She knows what performance costs. She is not looking for a show. She is looking for something real, something that does not shift depending on who is watching. A man who is the same in the crowd as he is alone. That man, that kind of man, is almost impossible to find. And women who are built on their own foundation, they will wait for that. They will wait as long as it takes, because they have learned to be whole on their own. The waiting does not break them. It refines them. Let us go deeper, because I want to say something that most people avoid. Women are not complicated. They are layered. There is a difference. Complicated means chaotic, hard to understand, impossible to predict. Layered means there is depth, there is history, there is a story underneath the story. And the tragedy is that most people never get past the first layer. They see a woman's strength, and they assume she does not need tenderness. They see her independence, and they assume she does not want connection. They see her silence, and they assume she is fine. She is not always fine. Strength and vulnerability live in the same body. Independence and longing live in the same heart. Silence and screaming can occupy the same woman. And the desire, the deep quiet desire that women rarely admit, is to be held in the full truth of that. Not fixed, not redirected, not managed into something more comfortable. Held, just as she is. The whole complicated, the whole layered, the whole unexplainable, beautiful, difficult whole of her. That is what she wants, and almost no one gives her that. Subscribe if you have never heard anyone say this to you before. Subscribe if you are a woman who has learned to carry your truth alone. This channel exists for you. Now, let us talk about self-respect. Because self-respect is not what most people think it is. Self-respect is not confidence. Confidence is performance. Confidence can be faked. Self-respect cannot. Self-respect is the quiet decision you make when no one is watching. The decision to honor yourself even when it costs something, even when it would be easier to shrink, even when the people around you are comfortable with you being smaller. Self-respect is saying, no, not because you are angry, but because you know your own value. Self-respect is walking away, not to punish someone, but because staying would require you to betray yourself. Self-respect is refusing to explain yourself to people who have no intention of understanding you. It is the quiet revolution, the one no one sees, the one that happens inside a woman, when she finally stops seeking permission to take up space, when she stops apologizing for having standards, when she stops convincing people to respect her, and simply stops accepting anything less. That moment, that shift, changes everything. It changes how she walks into a room. It changes what she tolerates. It changes who she allows near her. It changes what she calls love. Because once you have tasted real self-respect, you cannot go back to love that requires you to diminish yourself. It does not feel like love anymore. It feels like a trade, and she is done trading. There is something else, something even fewer people say out loud. Women desire purpose, not just meaning, purpose, not the kind assigned to them, not the kind handed down through tradition, not the kind that looks good to other people, their own purpose, the thing that burns in them at 3 a.m, the thing they return to in the quiet, the thing that makes them feel alive in a way that relationships alone never quite reach. Women are not meant to orbit around other people. They are meant to have their own gravity, their own center, their own direction. And the women who discover this, who stop waiting to be invited into their own lives, who claim their direction without apology, those women become something different, something untouchable, not cold, not distant, untouchable in the sense that they cannot be diminished anymore, because they know exactly who they are. And that knowledge becomes armor, not the kind that keeps people out, the kind that keeps the wrong things out, the kind that only allows in what is worthy. Let me speak to the women who have given too much. You know who you are. You have poured yourself into relationships, into roles, into expectations, and you have felt yourself disappearing. Not dramatically, quietly. The way a fire goes low when there is no more fuel. You gave, and told yourself that love was supposed to cost you everything. It is not. Real love, grounded love, mature love, does not ask you to disappear. It asks you to show up more fully. It asks you to be more yourself, not less. If someone's love requires your smallness, that is not love. That is convenience. You were never meant to be convenient. You were meant to be real. There is a version of you, a version you may have buried, the version that had not yet learned to shrink, the version that spoke without calculating the cost, the version that took up space without apology. She is still in there. She did not leave. She is waiting. Not for the right person to bring her back, for you to bring her back. That is the truth most self-help avoids. The return to yourself does not depend on anyone else. It begins when you decide, today, that you are done betraying her, done negotiating her out of the room, done allowing the comfort of others to come before your truth. Now let us talk about masculine energy, because this conversation needs grounding. Masculine energy is not about gender. It is about structure, direction, rootedness, presence. When a woman develops her own masculine energy, her own inner structure, her own inner discipline, something remarkable happens. She stops reacting. She starts responding. She stops being moved by every storm. She becomes someone who can stand still in it, not because she feels nothing, but because she has learned to feel and not be swept away. This is not coldness. This is strength. The strength of a woman who has sat with her own darkness and come back from it, still whole, still open, still building. That woman does not need external validation. Because she has developed an internal standard, and once you have an internal standard, the external noise loses its power. You stop auditioning, you stop performing, you stop shaping yourself around what you think people need you to be, and you start being, simply being, with everything you are. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most women know what they want. They have always known. What stopped them was not confusion, it was fear. Fear of being too much, fear of being alone, fear of choosing themselves and losing everyone else. But here is what that fear never tells you. Every time you betrayed yourself to keep someone comfortable, you lost something, a piece of something irreplaceable, and the accumulation of those losses. That is what creates the emptiness, that quiet ache, that sense that something is missing. Something is missing. It is you. The parts of you that you gave away, the parts of you that you apologized for, the parts of you that you hid because the world did not seem ready for them. You are ready now. There is a kind of woman the world has not prepared people for. A woman who is complete. A woman who does not walk into a room looking for someone to finish her. She walks in complete. And looking for someone who is also complete, who can build something together, not fill each other's gaps, but add depth to what is already whole. That kind of woman is rare, not because she is better than others, but because she has done the work, the quiet, painful, unglamorous work of facing herself, of sitting in the discomfort of her own patterns, of choosing truth over comfort again and again, until truth became the more comfortable thing. That work, that is what creates the kind of woman who cannot be manipulated, cannot be diminished, cannot be unseen by herself, even if everyone around her looks away. She sees herself, and that is enough. If you are still watching, something in you recognizes what is being said here. Something in you has been waiting to hear it. You are not too much. You are not too intense. You are not too serious. You are not too anything. You are precisely what you are supposed to be, and the people who told you otherwise were not wrong about you. They were overwhelmed by you. There is a difference. This is the message, the final truth. The thing women desire but rarely admit is not someone to love them. It is someone to witness them, to sit in the full presence of who they are, without flinching, without trying to fix them, without needing them to be different. Witnessing is the deepest form of intimacy. It is not touch. It is attention. Real attention. The kind that says, I see you, not who I need you to be, not who you were yesterday, not the version of you that makes me comfortable. You as you are, right now. That is the desire. That is what goes unspoken, because the world has rarely offered it. And so women stopped asking for it, and told themselves they did not need it. But they do. We all do. The desire to be witnessed is not weakness, it is the most human thing there is. So carry yourself accordingly, not with performance, with presence, not with noise, with rootedness, not with the need to be chosen, with the certainty that you have already chosen yourself, and that is enough. That has always been enough. If this reached something real in you, subscribe, not for me, for yourself, so that the next time you need to be reminded of who you are. This channel is here, waiting. The way truth always waits. Patient, quiet, certain.